Today I'm diving into 3 rules that you can apply at your next wedding to make your film look and feel more cinematic. Now, cinematic is certainly a buzzword. I've used it, a lot of YouTubers have used it, a lot of other filmmakers have used it, and it's really in essence what it means is we really just want our films to feel like a movie. We want it to feel emotional and powerful and beautiful and all the things that just make us really feel something. And the first rule, really the most important one when it comes to creating any kind of feeling within your films, is your lighting tells the story. Lighting affects the mood, it affects the feeling, it affects the look, the quality, and the emotion within your story. And good lighting, honestly, is so much more important than any kind of camera you're using. It's more important than your composition. It's more important than your framing. And if you master this aspect of filmmaking, everything else sort of falls into place and becomes easier to understand. So when it comes to lighting on the wedding day, your best friend is going to be natural light. I use natural light pretty much 99.5% of the time on the wedding day. The only time that I'm using any kind of supplemental light is during the reception. So when you are walking in the room on the wedding day, you should be focusing on where is that natural light coming from, because this should be the only light source that you are going to utilize to capture your shots. If there's overhead lighting, if there's any kind of supplemental lighting, maybe the makeup artist has some light, of course you can get creative with those shots. But really you want to focus and dial in natural light, especially if you want to create shadows and contrast and contour on your subject's face to really enhance the feeling. So rule number 2, you want to film with the light, not against the light. Natural light is amazing when you know how to position the camera and your subject. So the best way to utilize natural light is to film with it, not against it. And what do I mean by this? So essentially when you're filming against natural light, this is where you're gonna have a really bright background. So your shot's gonna be pretty backlit and you're exposing for your subject, not the background. So when you expose for your background, everything becomes super dark. Your subject's kind of like a silhouette, which can be a creative shot on the wedding day. I certainly like to infuse those myself, but only for a few shots throughout the day. You really wanna shoot with the light where that natural light is bouncing on your subject's face versus having everything in the background where you can't even see their face. Of course, there are circumstances with natural light too. It depends on the position of your natural light, it depends on the intensity of that natural light, and there are certain situations where you actually benefit from shooting against the light versus shooting with the light. So in most cases though, I will say it's always better to utilize the same direction as your light source when you are filming your scene. And then you can break the rules to achieve that certain look. Rule number 3, proper white balance is gonna make all the difference. Now you can have a beautifully lit shot, but if your white balance is off, it can diminish the impact of that moment. And when you're filming in naturally lit environments, the best place for your white balance to sit is right around 5600 Kelvin. You don't wanna be in auto white balance, you wanna make sure that you're in at least a manually set white balance temperature or have your white balance locked off at 5600 Kelvin. This is gonna make your skin tones and the overall feeling of your shot feel a lot more true to life. And getting white balance right in camera is gonna save precious time later in post trying to fix all the color casts and shifts. So you wanna make sure that you try to dial this in on the wedding day. Natural light is gonna equal 5600 Kevin. Natural light is going to equal 5600 Kelvin, and anything indoors with supplemental lighting, depending on the source of light, is usually going to be around 3200 Kelvin. But if white balance is still one of those fickle foes on the wedding day, you can use an app on your phone that can definitely help you dial in those settings whenever you're in those different lighting environments. The app that I like to use is Light Spectrum Pro. It's super simple to use. You open the app, you point your phone towards the main light source in the room. It's gonna give you a quick read of what it thinks the temperature is, and then you can dial in your settings from there. But those are my 3 rules for how you can make your films look and feel more cinematic. Hope you found this video helpful and valuable in some way. If you did, it would mean so much if you consider liking and subscribing, and until next time, keep creating and telling beautiful stories. Peace.
You're part of me, it's chemical. Don't ask me why.